In this video, we're going to be talking all about the things you're doing currently that are affecting you from learning to code. Stay tuned to the end to get some insightful tips on what you can be doing to make sure you don't make these mistakes yourself. And if you like content like this, hit the subscribe and notification bell. Comment down below if any of these mistakes today resonate with you. My name is Jason Humphrey. I help aspiring developers who are struggling with their dev careers by mentoring them through the processes that will ultimately make them successful. All of the stories you've heard today come from meetings that I've had with aspiring developers to where they have messed up in one of these 5 areas today that have hindered their ability to learn. When I was able to shed some light in these areas we're going to talk about today where they were struggling most, it became the key to their learning process, which helped them become a developer in the end. So let's talk about these 5 stories right now. And this first story is all about the next thing, right? You're always looking for what's next. Right now, what you have is never good enough, but this manifests in a lot of different ways. So first off, researching endless technologies and new things coming out, whether it be something like the Go language or something that's just really new and interesting to touch. Other ways you see that is always chasing the next big idea. And that might be a business idea. It might be a technology idea. It might be something that you think just one day is going to hit you big. Potentially cryptocurrencies is a good place for this part of the story. Also, you could just be the idea person, right? We all know one in our life that just has idea after idea after idea after idea and idea. Notice there is never an end to the idea. There's just more ideas that keep coming. And so what I say to this story is, if you're always looking for the next thing, that's got to stop. You're going to have to find one thing that you want and go after that. Check out the market analysis video that I did to help you figure out what you actually want to be doing, or at least point you in the direction of what you think you want to be doing. The next is coding alone, and I feel like this is pretty common, right? Especially in the beginning. You code alone a lot of the time, and that's okay. But this is where when you do it all the time, every time you don't build a network or anyone to help you or to go ask questions, this is when things like the imposter syndrome will start creeping in. Not only that, you won't know all the styles and standards you should be following, because when you are in your own little bubble, it's pretty easy to just not look outside of it, and that's when you miss things like that. And lastly, not being able to bounce ideas off of people is the last reason I have for why coding alone is really hindering your learning. The solution here I want to recommend for when you find yourself coding alone is to find someone that is willing to pair program with you. Generally, if you can go find a peer that is willing to sit down with you that is generally in the same area, that can be really helpful. You can find these on lots of different groups. Facebook groups, YouTube groups, maybe even some in-person meetup groups. Hell, if you need help finding a pair programmer and can't, let me know, and I will try to help you find one, because I think there's an abundance of resources out there, but you have to find them. The next mistake I see is about how people ask for help. Let me give you a good indicator of what I mean. If you go to Stack Overflow right now and ask for help, and you get rejected, and people basically call your question stupid and not real and deny it off the form, that's a really good indicator that you're doing something wrong. I personally, earlier in my career, had that happen a couple times when I was asking the questions all the wrong way. So let's talk about some things you can do to make sure you're asking for help the right way. First and foremost here, have a title, and make sure the title is descriptive of the error to the T. Generally, when you have an error message come up, it is going to have some specifics, some keywords that you can copy and put out in the message that you can pull out and put in the title of the message. Also, make sure you're covering what you need and what you did. Because if we truly don't understand the end goal and then what you tried to do to get to the end goal, well, here's one of the primary reasons why you'll get rejected from Stack Overflow. Next is you should be telling us how exactly that you replicated it in your question. And precisely not only how, but why you think this should be working based off what you did. And the last but not least in this, make sure you're including all extra information that will matter, such as the version of your computer, your code, the language you're using, anything that could potentially help someone debug it. In this section, it's not enough to just be asking your questions the right way. You also have to make sure you're Googling the right way. I will be doing a video on this at some point, but let me give it a couple tips right now. Make sure you have these 3 pieces of information in your Google questions. And the first is the topic at hand, some specific syntax out of the error message that's not generic to the world, but actually will help with your specific question. And last but not least, maybe tag the language you're using in it. The next thing I see people doing that really hinder their ability to learn is they're giving up, well, way too early, to be honest, because things are gonna get really tough. Let's be really honest about that. There are gonna be bugs that you might not be able to solve. There will be code that you might not be able to write, but you cannot give up. You must follow through with your process. If you haven't built the process yet, check out my video on that, and if it's not out yet, it'll be out soon. But you must have a process and you must stick to it, because it's very easy to give up when things get tough. But if you learn to not give up, follow your processes, talk to your mentors, talk to your peers, do pair programming, and follow your process to the T, well then you don't have to worry about giving up, because you always have an avenue to a solution. The last thing I see is when people start telling me when I get it all. When I fully understand everything, then I'll go apply for a job. Or when I complete it all, then I'm gonna go do it. And truth be told, they never do, because you'll never learn it all. Like, who are we fooling? Programming is so hard to stay on top of. Like, it's constantly changing directions. There's constantly new languages coming out. It is damn near impossible to be on top of the world with programming. And even then, only a select few that do are able to. So don't fool yourself with that, because you're never gonna be able to be at the mountaintop, because what all it's gonna do is leave you one step behind. And we don't want that. We want you one step ahead. We want you trying to get that job. We want you continuing to learn. We want you to stay on the path that will get you to where you want to be. This is one of the #1 stoppers for why people stop trying to learn coding, is because they realize how tough it is and that they're never going to be on top, and that they should just quit now when they're only one step behind. And it's okay to be one step behind, because if you are on top, it won't last very long, I'll tell you that much. What does this mean for you then? After everything we've said today, it means this: find direction in what you're looking for. Check out the market analysis video as well. 2, find someone to pair program with so that you're not coding alone. 3, learn to ask for help properly. 4, create a debugging process that you'll ultimately follow. Check out the video on that as well. And 5, make sure you create a plan, because being on top is not realistic, but following a plan to end dates and goals and accomplishing things is a realistic thing for you to do. If you like today's content, make sure you smash that like button and hit the subscribe notification bell to get more content like this in the future. And at the same time, if you're interested in mentoring with me and you would like some help with anything you have questions on, then feel free to book a 30-minute session to just see if this interests you about working with me.